Hi guys, welcome to the Metabolic Health Docs YouTube channel. I am so happy that you've joined me today. Today I'm with Stephanie of the Stephanie Keto Person YouTube channel. And today I wanted to touch on a subject that you've heard of, particularly in the low carb community. And it's this term called oxalate dumping. What do you need to know about that term? Why should you care about that term? That's what this video is about. So Stephanie, I've seen you talk about this topic on your YouTube channel often. And I know it's one of the things that you think people should be more aware of. So talk a little bit about what they should know about that and anything we can do to mitigate that.
Okay. So first of all, people who don't know what oxalates are or oxalic acid, it's in plants. Often I tell the average person that think that veganism is the way to go. And I'm like, well, not so much because plants have a defense and they've got a bunch of different weird names like salicylates and oxalates and goitrogens and nightshades and lectins, saponins, all this weird stuff, right? People know gluten. They know, ooh, gluten-free bread. Well, it's the same thing with oxalates. And you can find that this because plants don't have teeth or claws, they can't defend themselves. So all plants have poison. Okay, all of them do. Just some have less, and some are more edible, and then the time of year that you eat them, and then how ripened the plant is. Some, for example, the oxalates, they're in avocados. People are like, oh my God, so like avocados are so bad. No, I said, no, 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 no. Those are the unripened avocados are going to have more oxalates in them, which they look like shards of glass and needles under a microscope. So when people are getting like liver and kidney and gallbladder stones or crystals, it's from these plants because people are eating smoothies and salads and their greens and even weird stuff has oxalates in it, like stevia. People are doing a lot of stevia, and that's super high in oxalates. So when people are if they're doing a keto or carnivore diet and they've got back pain because they're dehydrated and they've already started forming these little shards of glass in their kidneys, it'll be painful, and it will be more than just the dehydration. It can also be the formation of crystals coming from something like spinach or avocados or any of the greens or veganism that people once did. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. Love me some Sally Norton, but Sally, I'm really sorry. Not everything is an oxalate. Okay. Now, people who've got the symptoms think they have the symptoms may not be having any oxalate dumping of these crystals, formation of crystals that can turn into stones in certain organs. What you need to really look out for is your previous awareness of oxalates, which is, were you a vegan? Did you do a lot of green smoothies? Did you eat a lot of salads? Because things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, yes, they have oxalates, but it's not the same as spinach. Spinach has a lot more, or grinding spinach into a smoothie. So if you were one of these people, probably, what is it, your oxalate bucket is full, and you might notice like eye itching, you could notice like strange sensation in your breasts, in your vajayjay, your vaginas, vulva. People often think they have a UTI because they got a burning sensation when they urinate, and it's actually the oxalates. So when you dump, there are specific symptoms, joint pain, but that could be other things as well, that you want to pay attention and understand your symptoms, because some people will avoid foods like avocados because they think that their oxalate bucket is too full and they can't do it. Now, with that said, we are designed to eat oxalates, okay, but not, 365 out of the year. That's the problem. We can eat our wild spinach, which tends to grow in a lot of places in this world, especially as a hunter-gatherer, as starting off as hunter-gatherer tribes. But we would stop eating it when it's out of season and it's not growing. The fact that we can have it all the time in salads is the problem. So yes, if you're that person who ate all those foods all the time, you probably have a high oxalate storage or buildup rather. And some people are just genetically better at clearing it out. They never form those weird symptoms like I talked about, like itchy or joint pain or itchy eyes or pain urinating, or some people never develop it. Their body can dump it and dump it equally. But the people who build it up and then stop eating those foods, the body's like, purge time. It's the same thing as like a candida die-off, which is another huge thing that happens when you do low carb, that these yeast spores, fungus start just dying off because they can't feed on any carbs. But the same thing happens with the oxalates. They just start coming out of you, but they can start coming out of you. Sounds kind of weird. So much that you feel horrible, but different than like a candida die-off. A candida die-off can actually give you like cold symptoms. But if you're like, oh my God, my vaginas is burning so bad, then you might want to look into what you ate previously to doing keto or carnivore. Now, how to mitigate that? You can do things like malic acid, you can do lemon water, which will help sort of dissolve these crystals, and so will malic acid. And potentially slowly still keeping some oxalates in the diet and just slowly tapering off of them and allowing your body not to dump so fast. But that's pretty it. That's pretty much it. I wouldn't stop eating all foods with oxalates. You know, I think I said like Sally's brilliant, but at the same time, there's no context. People are like, "Oh my God, I've got oxalates." I'm like, maybe you don't. Maybe it's another symptom. Understand the symptomology. Understand it, because if you're actually having another health issue and then you think it's an oxalate, then you're going to be chasing your tail for a very long time.
Yeah, that all makes sense. So it sounds like if a person is adopting a low carb keto or carnivore diet and they've consumed foods high in oxalates previously, rather it's the beans and nuts, and you mentioned, spinach and things,
Spinach, potatoes, avocados. Yeah.
all of that stuff, right? They need to ease into those dietary patterns and or retain some of those foods that they may, it'll mitigate it. And so I think you have to really listen to your body. And some of the symptoms you may see, you've described, but I've seen patients have, they see changes in their stool, they get skin rashes, they get
You
tired.
know, but often this is also a combination of histamine. It's
Yeah,
not just oxalates.
right. So and glad you mentioned that. We did do a video about histamine intolerance as well, so definitely check that out as well. So, and the other thing I want to wrap up with, which is what I said in the other video, you may need a coach, like someone like Stephanie, who understands these things, so that as you're making these transitions and you run into these little moments of struggle, you can have somebody to kind of walk with you and help you kind of figure these things out and problem solve. So I'll make sure to share Stephanie's YouTube channel and her coaching related services. And I just appreciate all of you for just taking a moment to learn a little bit more about what you need to be aware of to achieve metabolic health. So I thank you for coming to today's video. And until the next one, Metabolic Health Doc, continue to be safe, be well, and continue to protect your nest.